Welcome back to Revisiting History, and I'm glad to see you again. Today we're doing something a little bit different. This is going to be located within my Revisiting People selection. Today we're talking about H.D. Abrams. In 1907, H.D. Abrams bought almost 160 acres of land from a man named John Koontz, allegedly. Now, I've done lots and lots of research on this and haven't found any information about this John Koontz. However, I did find a separate source that actually says that he received these 160 acres from the Homestead Act. It would make sense. But maybe John Koontz wasn't a person. Maybe it was just the Homestead Act. Born in Mako, Missouri in 1866, Abrams went on to be sheriff in Colorado for quite some time before actually becoming part of the Masonry club in the area. He was actually expelled, but later reinitiated from what I understand. After moving into Aztec in 1904, he actually incorporated the hardware and lumber company there in Aztec, purchasing out other businesses, of course. Now, this property included not just the 160 acres, but the Aztec ruins themselves. For a little bit of time, there was kind of this shifting back and forth between several different museums before it eventually ended up as it is today as a national monument. And to top it off, it's a World Heritage Site. Although there were some kind of shoddy excavations done originally by Abrams himself, later on they would go on to do some more thorough investigations and find some very, very, very beautiful art still on display at the Aztec Museum today. So what's the point? When looking at an unmarked house, you may see nothing. Maybe a spooky house on the corner, maybe a old ransacked house from another generation begone. But beyond every building lay a person, and behind every person lay a story. Just like H.D. Abrams. H.D. Abrams was a giant who basically created archaeology in the San Juan County Basin.
So we're here at Revisiting History, and we're looking at the H.D. Abrams house, and apparently it's for sale now. It's basically historic. It's built in the very, very early 1900s, and I mean, you can see it's got some wear and tear, but it's also got a for sale sign on it. Let's go check it out, the actual building. Didn't expect to get this. Let's see. It says, "Oh, posted no trespassing." Okay, so we'll go ahead and get out of there then. But yeah, that's the H.D. Abrams house. It was part of 160 acres that goes all the way to the Aztec ruins. Right, so we were at the Aztec ruins, and we had quite a drive from the H.D. Abrams house. I mean, it's literally a few minutes. So to think about 160 acres that direction, we must be on the almost opposite side of the area from where H.D. Abrams house had been. So it's kind of an interesting layout. I also read that something about he received the land through the Homestead Act, which is weird because we read something about John Koontz, who we're still trying to figure out who that is. Let's get going. The way that this is worded is extremely weird. It says, so through the collective recognition of the community of nations expressed within the principles of the convention concerning the protection of the world, cultural and natural heritage. Like very, very, very strange wording. The Aztec National Monument, I absolutely love. Been to this place very many times. Of course, World Heritage Site, an outlier of Chaco National Historical Park, which we're going to learn about. We're going to get more into the Anasazi, of course. Apparently a theory from here is that the women actually, while the men were away, would work together to actually build some of the ruins here using baskets. They would carry the stone from a quarry about 5 miles away. So one of the trees here was actually from Durango, which would have been hand carried from Durango down to here. Very, very long and dangerous trek. Celebrating 100 years of Aztec National Ruins. That's pretty cool, man. I love that this historic site's been here so long. And like I said, H.D. Abrams had such a tremendous amount to do with the fact that this place even exists because of the land that he gave away and the land that he got either from the Homestead Act or purchasing it. Let's see, we get some ceramics. We don't have any dates on these ones, but I get Flagstaff black on white. I've actually seen some more similar pottery to that in Arizona. Let's see here, obsidian, of course. And shells apparently actually were discovered here from the East Coast. So either the traveling or the ability to actually trade from the East Coast was available. Here we have a copper bell. These are actually from Mexico for the most part. We've seen these pop up a lot in Mexico, along with these mirrors that we see in Arizona. All right, so I'm making a separate video actually also, and some of the knowledge I just gained from speaking to an archaeologist completely flipped my perspective on something. And the video will come up. It's going to be a big project, a revisiting history exclusive premiere. But it's going to get into the Chaco culture, the Anasazi, the Ancestral Pueblo, the different names for them. The Chaco is the proper one. But yeah, we're gonna have that. I learned a lot, and very interested to get into this. But we'll keep our tour going. So we're on the land of H.D. Abrams. 100 years after the museum was founded, even longer than that since H.D. Abrams had it. All right, so I'm heading up the main steps to the Pueblo, and you can see some rooms off to the sides. These bricks are pretty large. You can see the size of my hand compared to a brick. I'm assuming they were very heavy putting them into place, but you can see how high we are compared to the museum. And then if you look to the right, you can see that there are still Pueblos across that are much higher than I am. So this is the famous keyhole type of kiva. I call it keyhole because it reminds me of a key. If you look at it from an angle, it goes down very deep. Of course, these have been used for, of course, living, or also the grand kiva would be used for any type of traditional or rituals or anything like that. It's the Great Kiva, but it's been, of course, redone and improved on. It has modern infrastructure involved, but I mean, it was the Great Kiva of the area. Like I said, as you can see from here, we're looking at the museum there, the open field, and then this direction we have some of the more exposed abodes. Then if we shift over this way, some of the larger ones, and then also another one that dips into the ground. So apparently the place isn't fully actually explored. There's no reason to explore it, I guess, because they don't have a reason to, because there's no new findings, and also the people, the descendants, would like them not to. So multiple reasons, but it's probably not gonna get reopened as a site to be excavated again. Whether on purpose or not, a lot of times when I see some of these sites, we have this weird black layer, and I'm not sure whether it was from decoration or what. You can actually see towards the very bottom of the ground that same black layer that's above the ground. Of course, this probably goes down a little bit, but again, like I said, it's not fully excavated. But as you get further this direction, you can see the bottom layer much better. Very thick. It doesn't appear to be as thick, but then it stops, and then it returns to normal brick. Whereas up here we have the same black or blue brick. You can see the structures, and then from here, at a low point where I'm at, that's going to be the highest structure that still exists. Of course, who knows how high it would have been back in the day. We know that these people didn't stop at 1 story or 2 stories. They built all the way up, and especially in the canyons, where the canyon walls are there to back you, structures are very large. Ask, why do you wear the beanie? It's because I have a hairline of Captain Picard. That's why. Now, I had already done some LiDAR scans of this location and a lot of locations here. The whole reason we're here today, again, H.D. Abrams, this is a big salute to him for making this happen after parsing his land off and giving it to the people who would eventually end up as a World Heritage Site. So thank you, H.D. Abrams. We're basically in the center of the ruins. As I scope around, you can kind of see where I'm at. I'm in the middle. And the weird thing is, I don't see any of the same blue rock, at least layered blue rock that we see on the outskirts of the perimeter. So I'm wondering why. Again, even looking at more deteriorated ones, we see the same cross structure through these that you've seen in my scans, but they always incorporate it, except for the low ones. The low ones here are pretty tight quarters, and of course you can look above. I think I actually might have scanned this exact one, but oh my, look at that. That's not good. Somebody, actually, that might be natural. Never mind. But yeah, it goes back further. We have other videos that have showed it, but yeah, the passageway's small, the roof's high. It looks like it might be a window over there. Let's go check it. Yeah, definitely a window. Looks like we have an opening up there as well. So when the structure was fully intact, those would have been windows or I can't think of another reason why you would have that there. This wood right here, if it's original, it's 1,000 years old. These bricks, 1,000 years old. Everything around us, 1,000 years old history. I mean, you have to see it while it's here. I mean, you can see it cracking, this foundation. I've seen people on YouTube go around flicking pieces of adobe off of houses. It's insane. This little pit is interesting. It's got a log in it, but it looks like it might be masoned off, or maybe it goes somewhere. And see, even as we continue on from there, we still have the same T-structure entrance that I'm talking about that you see throughout here. And then I'll even show you the next two. Oh, this one's obviously deteriorated, but again, the T-structure. And then this one again, pretty heavily deteriorated, but you see the bottom of the T-structure there. So I don't know why they did it, what it means, if it's more infrastructurally sound, but I'm gonna try and figure that out as well. So we were here at the Aztec Cemetery. We're gonna find H.D. Abrams and you know, hopefully bid him a farewell for today. I had noticed something, and I was having a pretty hard time finding it, but then I started noticing some Masonic symbols, right? I kept walking, still Abrams, bang, look, Masonic symbol again. You keep walking, David Boyd Abrams. I'm assuming probably PFC actually. And then over here, H.D. Abrams, right there, and his wife. There he is. Got the Masonic symbol and everything, despite the suspension, and we even have a little bit of a, you know, the Masonic symbol in the back as well, implanted in the ground. But this is H.D. Abrams. Without him, the Aztec ruins wouldn't be what they are today. Without H.D. Abrams, the Aztec ruins may not exist. It's people like H.D. Abrams who allow us to revisit history. It's people like H.D. Abrams who began a quest that you can join at any time. You can feel free to visit and revisit these places. And when you finish these type of things, you almost feel like you're friends with the person that you've been investigating or studying. And I know I never knew these people, and I know I'll never meet them, of course, maybe someday. But I feel like, to some extent, I know these people. And I want to say goodbye and rest in peace to H.D. Abrams. And thank you. Thank you for revisiting history. We'll see you next time.